Rhaenyra quietly approaches Sheepstealer with a sheep as an offering. The dragon graciously eats the sheep and then allows Rhaenyra to climb onto his back. He soars off, giving her a wild ride. Later, Rhaenyra and Sheepstealer meet again at his nest. They bond over food. Sheepstealer brings Rhaenyra a cooked sheep and gradually form a rider-dragon bond. Rhaenyra has effectively tamed the feral dragon and agrees to fly with him toward Dragonstone. Meanwhile, King Aegon II Targaryen rides away from King's Landing in disguise, accompanied by Lord Larry Strong, Rhaenyra's half-brother and Aegon's advisor. Their plan arranged by Queen Alicent is to flee and regroup until demons and Rhaenyra's war tears itself apart. However, once they enter territory loyal to the Blacks, they encounter Rhaenyra's peasants turned guards. When Aegon refuses to publicly bend the knee to Rhaenyra, Larys suddenly blurts out their true identities in an attempt to spare Aegon's life. Guards loyal to Rhaenyra immediately arrest Aegon and Larys. Larys claims Aegon is the rightful king and insists on treating them as valuable prisoners, though it's clear he is acting to protect Aegon from summary execution. All the common folk who were traveling with them are slaughtered to keep the secret of Aegon's capture, and the plan is made to take Aegon first to Duskendale and then to Dragonstone to face Rhaenyra's judgment. Prince Aemond Targaryen is furious to learn of Aegon's escape. Aemond realizes Aegon has abandoned the throne. When Queen Alicent Hightower returns from Dragonstone to confront Aemond, she finds him sitting alone on the Iron Throne. Aemond claims that his brother's absence means Aegon has abdicated. Knowing Rhaenyra will press Aegon's claim, Alicent urges Aemond to take immediate action. She convinces him that they should strike back at Rhaenyra's allies in the Riverlands, specifically by seizing Harrenhal, where many blacks have congregated. Aemond agrees to march to Harrenhal on Alicent's suggestion. To keep the Hightower army out of King's Landing and prevent them from aiding Rhaenyra, Alicent forges a letter from Aemond to her cousin Lord Ormond Hightower. In the letter, Aemond supposedly orders Ormond to halt his advance on the capital and instead wait in the Riverlands for Aemond's arrival in 3 days. This deceit keeps the Hightower forces from advancing on King's Landing and buys Alicent time to deal with the aftermath of Aegon's flight. In the Riverlands, Daemon Targaryen is on the rampage. Earlier he defeated Lord Jason Lannister's Westerland's army at the Battle of the Red Fork. On the battlefield, Daemon and his ally Lord Oscar Tully find that Jason Lannister has fled to regroup at the God's Eye. Daemon pursues, but before he can engage Jason again, he is ambushed by the legendary Winter Wolves, a 2,000-man company of Northmen promised to Rhaenyra by Cregan Stark. Their grizzled leader Roderick "Roddy" Dustin emerges from the trees with Jason's severed head and proclaims, "We come to die for the Dragon Queen." The Winter Wolves solemnly swear their fealty and join Daemon's forces, tipping the scales. Daemon gratefully accepts their help, declaring they still have lions to hunt, meaning more Lannister forces to destroy. Meanwhile, the 3 young dragon riders known as the Dragon Seeds, Adam of Hull, Hugh Hammer, and Ulf White, have been lying in wait at Harrenhal. Rhaenyra secretly sent these bastard Targaryen heirs to ambush Aemond's dragon Vhagar when he arrives. For 2 days they practice and wait. Eventually Alice Rivers appears and ominously insists that this is no place for them. Sensing something is amiss, Alice urges them to ride south immediately instead of waiting. Yielding to her persuasion, the Dragon Seeds abandon Harrenhal and fly off to Dragonstone to join the real battle. Back at Dragonstone, Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen is preparing to depart for King's Landing, believing Alicent's invitation to discuss peace. Her son Jacaerys Valerion is suspicious of Alicent's intentions, however. Jace reasons this could be a trap and fears for his mother's safety. Without Rhaenyra's knowledge, Jace enlists the castle guards to lock her in the Red Keep under the guise of protecting her from harm. In effect, Rhaenyra is held prisoner by her own son's orders. Jace and the loyal guards keep her confined in her chambers, preventing her from riding to battle. This shocking act freezes Rhaenyra in place just as war erupts. Meanwhile in a narrow strait where Corlys Valerion's Valerion fleet confronts a pirate armada allied with the Triarchy. The Triarchy's fleet is led by Admiral Shirako Lohar, an ex-slave of Essos now serving the Greens, and Tyland Lannister captains several warships. Lohar's personal vendetta is to kill Corlys for past slights. Corlys Valerion sails the Sea Snake through the narrow channel, flanked by his bastard son Alan of Hull aboard Sea Smoke. The two navigate past spike-covered rocks known as the Teeth. Ahead, Tyland Lannister's ships attack. During the chase, Lohar's flagship rams Corlys' ship from behind, slamming it in half. The timber-cracked Sea Snake sinks, and Corlys is hurled into the chaos. Alan rushes to his defense and engages Lohar in fierce hand-to-hand combat. Ultimately Alan kills Lohar by plunging his sword into the pirate captain. Meanwhile, in the sky above the Gullet, Jacaerys on his dragon Vermax and Baela Targaryen on Moondancer arrive to aid Corlys. Rhaenyra on Sheepstealer also shows up. However, Rhaenyra immediately loses control of the wild dragon. Sheepstealer flies a killing spiral, unleashing flames. He unintentionally burns Valerion's ships and attacks Rhaenyra's allies. Amid the chaos, Vermax dives low to avoid Sheepstealer, but is struck in the wing by a massive scorpion bolt, dragging the dragon into the sea. Vermax is mortally wounded and drowns. Jace is thrown into the water. As he clings to debris, enemy archers line the decks of the pirate ships and shoot him repeatedly with arrows. Jace is killed by Triarchy bowmen in the water. His death is devastating. Both dragon and rider are lost in moments of chaotic, friendly fire. The surviving dragon seeds refuse to let the enemy escape. Riding their dragons, they hunt down the remaining Triarchy ships, destroying the scattered fleet and forcing the surviving pirates to flee. Although the battle is technically won, the victory feels hollow after the enormous losses suffered by the Blacks. Meanwhile, Baela Targaryen flies back to Dragonstone carrying the body of her cousin and future king, Jacaerys Velaryon. His death completely shatters Rhaenyra. She breaks down as she sees her son's lifeless body, blaming herself for allowing the war to reach this point. The loss of Jace leaves the Blacks without their heir and pushes Rhaenyra deeper into grief and rage. In the Vale, Rhaenyra is consumed with guilt after the battle. Although she finally claimed Sheepstealer, the wild dragon's uncontrollable attacks contributed to the chaos that led to Jace's death. Lady Jane Eyre believes Rhaenyra's presence now brings danger to the Vale and asks her to leave. Refusing to abandon her allies, Rhaenyra promises to remain nearby and use Sheepstealer to defend the Vale if enemies ever attack, hoping to prove she can still serve her family. Elsewhere, Aegon II and Larry Strong manage to escape from the Black soldiers holding them prisoner. Using Larry's intelligence and manipulation, the two quietly slip away before they can be delivered to Dragonstone. Once again, Aegon becomes a fugitive, forcing Rhaenyra to continue hunting the man whose death could end the war. After surviving the sinking of his flagship, Corlys Velaryon is eventually discovered by Adam of Hull. Corlys is badly injured but alive. Grateful that both Adam and Alan risked everything to save him, Corlys decides the time has come to publicly recognize Alan as his true son and promises to legitimize him, finally giving him the family name he has never had. Back in King's Landing, Alicent secretly meets Luther Largent, the commander of the City Watch. Realizing the Greens are losing control, she asks him to peacefully surrender the city to Rhaenyra when the time comes, hoping to prevent thousands of innocent people from dying. However, Master of Laws Jasper Wilde discovers Alicent's betrayal. Instead of exposing her immediately, he corners her and attempts to assault her. Before he can carry out the attack, Grand Maester Orwyle intervenes, has Jasper arrested, and prevents the crime. At Harrenhal, Daemon receives the heartbreaking news that Jace has been killed. Knowing Rhaenyra will need him more than ever, he immediately abandons his campaign and returns to Dragonstone. There he comforts the grieving queen and brings valuable intelligence. He reveals that Aemond has left King's Landing with Vhagar to capture Harrenhal, leaving the capital almost completely exposed. Meanwhile, Aemond finally arrives at Harrenhal riding Vhagar. Furious that House Strong failed to remain loyal to the Greens, he brutally executes Simon Strong. But even Aemond isn't invincible. During the fighting, he suffers serious injuries and is forced to seek help from Alice Rivers. Swallowing his pride, he begs the mysterious healer to save his life, placing his fate in her hands. Realizing King's Landing is now vulnerable, Rhaenyra wastes no time. Accompanied by Daemon, Hugh Hammer, and Ulf White on their dragons, she launches a daring assault on the capital. With most green forces gone, the city has little chance of resisting. Inside King's Landing, Luther Largent reveals that his true loyalty has always belonged to Daemon. Instead of defending the Greens, the City Watch arrests many of Aemond's remaining supporters and opens the gates for Rhaenyra's forces. The capital falls with surprisingly little bloodshed. Once inside the Red Keep, Rhaenyra immediately demands that Aegon be brought before her. She expects to finally end the war by executing her rival, but instead discovers he escaped before the city was taken. Furious that her greatest enemy slipped through her fingers again, her anger only grows stronger. Soon afterward, Daemon receives an unexpected gift from Larry Strong. As a final act of manipulation, Larry's hands over the imprisoned Otto Hightower, believing his capture may buy forgiveness for his own crimes. Rhaenyra personally sentences Otto to death. Overcome with emotion after everything Otto did to steal her birthright and destroy her family, Daemon hands her his sword and she behead him for his crimes. Daemon also settles his own score by personally executing Jasper Wilde for his crimes and his loyalty to the Greens. With the last major resistance inside the Red Keep eliminated, Rhaenyra finally, for the first time since the war began, Rhaenyra peacefully ascends the Iron Throne. Alicent and Helena are brought into the throne room as prisoners. Forced to kneel before Rhaenyra, Alicent looks across the room and sees the lifeless body of her father, Otto Hightower. Realizing everything her family fought for has collapsed,